Welcome to I'm Doing Well. This is my podcast. I'm doing well. I hope you are too. I went to Carl's Jr. earlier this week, and McDonald's has a Big Mac. Burger King has a Whopper. Jack in the Box, they have burgers, and then In-N-Out has tasty burgers. But Carl's Jr., I just found out, has something called a Big Carl. And when I first read this, I was like, oh, that sounds mean. you know? Oh, there's Big Carl. It's like, oh, hey, lay off. Jeez. Just because he eats more croissants than the next guy doesn't mean anything, okay? Big Carl. Big Mac, it's got some like authority to it. Hey, there's Big Mac. Whopper? Oh, that's a Whopper, man. I mean, they even have a candy named after Whopper? Why would they name something, you know, why would you reuse a name if it wasn't amazing? Just like, why would you reuse a name if they weren't amazing? Like, you don't see little Adolfs running around. Okay, god damn it. Whopper's been used again for a very tasty wafer little, sphere. So it's got to be good. Big Mac, Whopper, those are endearing burger names. Big Carl, that just... Hey, Big Carl, you can just call me Carl. Yep, but I'm going to call you Big Carl. Okay. Great, awesome. It sounds mean. You can't say Big Carl in an no, you could actually. I think you could say Big Carl in an endearing way. Big Carl, what's up, man? Oh, just had a Whopper. No way, you should try Big Macs. They're better. Yeah, I'm a BK guy. They have red ices. Aren't they cherry ices? Nah, man, red ices. Okay. Anyways, I go to Carl's Jr., right? Drive through because their lobby is closed. How funny is it that they call it a lobby? I don't know. Whenever I think lobby, I think maybe like hospital or a hotel. You know, two places where if you brought a black light, you would probably see some shit. Literally and figuratively. But Carl's Jr. has a lobby. No, I bet if you brought a black light to a Carl's Jr. lobby, you'd see some stuff too. But I was in the drive-thru and I peered through the window. Here, I'll put a picture here. This is what I was looking at. This was my view. And I don't think you can read it in the picture, but there's a sign. And it says, "This safety glass can't keep you away from our char-broiled burgers." And I read that and I was like, oh, is that a challenge? Or is it like words of motivation? They're like, hey, I know we put this glass here, but that shouldn't stop you. I bet you could still get those burgers. And then you get people just inviting themselves, from the lobby to the kitchen and being like, hey, that glass, you might have thought it would keep me out. It didn't, because now I'm in your kitchen. I thought that was an interesting sign. I feel like they could have worded it so many different ways, and they decided to word it this way, which was, "This safety glass can't keep you away from our char-broiled burgers." Did people think it was? Like they walk in, "Hi, welcome to Carl's Jr. Oh, I guess McDonald's was closed, huh? What would you like to order?" And then they say, "Oh, well, I was gonna have one of your guys' world famous char-broiled burgers, but I see you got the glass up, so I guess that's gonna keep me from getting them." And they're like, "Sir, you're not gonna believe this, but this glass can't keep you away from our char-broiled burgers." And then the customer's like, "Wow, you guys should put a sign that tells me that, so we wouldn't have to do this weird thing, huh? How awkward is this?" Now, I'm not to blame for talking about this for 5 minutes. It's really the person that was in front of me in line, because they were in front of me for like 10 minutes. And so I just sat here. I sat there for 10 minutes. And so I just started looking at stuff. And that's why I thought all of this, because they decided to order a bunch of food. It's their fault that I have content for this podcast. I don't get it. I've never been like proud, and probably you've seen, I don't really promote my podcast. I feel weird about podcasts. Everyone I tell, I feel ashamed that I have one. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, because like you can't be attractive with a podcast. Let me explain. I don't mean physically like attractive looks. I mean, a person strays further from being an attractive person if they have a podcast. I don't think this is a this is like an I don't have a good vocab. I don't think this is a cool thing to do, you know? Don't get me wrong though, like some podcasts, I get it. Like if you're doing like a history podcast, you're talking about something, conspiracy theories, something interesting. That's great. But when you have a podcast and the whole premise is I'm amazing, so you're going to listen to me talk, I'm like, ooh. And it sucks because that's what mine pretty much is. But the thing I'm able to, tell myself is I'm not doing this because I think I'm interesting. I'm doing this because I just want to make something every week. And so that's why I don't really strive to ever say, oh, look, my life is interesting. And that's why every week I just talk about food, apparently. And then I thought about that more. I'm like, why do I just keep talking about food? Like I talked about cheese sticks, I talked about water. Now we're talking about Carl's Jr. What is all this, food motivated talk? Cookies? And it's because what else do I do? I'm a student, and so there's really not that much else. I eat, schoolwork. I don't eat schoolwork. Sorry, there were commas. I eat, do schoolwork. I play basketball outside once a week. I make YouTube videos sometimes. That's Gauruv Virk. That's what I am. So that's why I don't feel comfortable, telling people to listen to my podcast, because I think if you have a podcast, I'm just going to go full bore with this. I think you're like a loser, Obviously, I don't agree with that, but just plainly put, like if you have a podcast, you're a loser. Once again, like history podcasts, anything interesting, oh, you're a world-renowned chef or something. Do a podcast about, traveling the world, cooking for different groups. But the, college student that talks to himself in a room once a week, what a loser, And so if I'm a loser, I don't want to advertise that. And so I think that's why, I have such a hard time, because I know what I am, and I get that it's not something that should be advertised. I also went to Chick-fil-A this week, by the way. And when I was in the drive-thru, I saw this shed. Here's a picture. Here you go. Oh, my curls might be getting in the way. And, what the fuck? Right? What is that? Are they like playing capture the flag during their breaks? Why do they have like a shed? Do they keep PE equipment in there? That's what I think of when I see that. So I'm curious, Chick-fil-A, what do you, what's with the shed? Is that where you people go in timeout if they don't say my pleasure? Because I could report some people, get them some shed time, you know? I asked for 2 barbecues. There's only one in the bag. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, sir. I'll take care of that for you. Hey, any chance, by the ways, do you remember who gave you your sauces? Oh, yeah, it was that guy right there. Awesome. Well, you have a great day, sir. Thank you. My pleasure. And then they turn around and they take the guy and they shove him in the shed because they're like, you ever miss a sauce again? You come even this close to missing another man's barbecue? Watch the flip out. They're very proper over there. They would never. So yeah, imagine that's where. Nope. Yeah, I'll say it. They're just raising chickens in there, and it's like a stairwell that leads down to like a chicken torture chamber. And it's so deep in the ground under cement that you can't like hear the clucking screams. See, this is why they need to make drive-through lines faster, so you don't have these thoughts. Because they sit you there, you know, and then you just look around and you start thinking, where do the chickens come from? And then they provide you the shed, and you're like, oh, I get it. um, I want to say, I guess I apologize. Um, for what? I'm gonna tell you. Uh, this is probably more of a chill, boring episode. Garv, they're all boring. Yeah, okay, I know. You're a loser, remember? No, I've just been feeling really bad. I mean, that I've been feeling bad for forever, but I physically, like I feel kind of like weak and like I have a bad, not a bad. I just have a sore throat a little bit, and so I haven't really like done much talking in the past 3 days. So, um, you know, not trying to overexert. You know, I don't think those 3 clicks were supposed to make sense, but in somewhere in my subconscious, I was like, hey, click 3 times. They'll know what you're talking about. I could have just said throat, and instead I clicked 3 times. What? Anyways, I've been like, I feel like all over the place in the past few weeks with my topics. Like, I take one idea and then I run. But we're going to change it up this week because, you know, I'm out of my mind. Um, I'm going to actually read what I wrote down this week. We're actually going to go through all the bullets. You can't see that. Great. Awesome. Well, I've only been doing this how long and I still fuck it up. Okay. I'm gonna go through. I have 6 bullet points that I wrote down this week. Wow. One for each day. Look at me. Um, okay. Great. The first thing I wrote down. McDonald's getting into the Filet-O-Fish game. This was okay. So I consume online content, yeah? And that content is usually on YouTube, and YouTube has ads. Ad I've been getting recently is for Arby's, and Arby's has now done their version of a Filet-O-Fish. So much so that when I first saw the sandwich, because they bring the sandwich first in the commercial, I thought it was a McDonald's ad. It looks exactly like McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. And then it got me thinking, why the fuck does McDonald's have a Filet-O-Fish on their menu? And I thought that because I was like, why the fuck does Arby's now have a Filet-O-Fish on their menu? And I was like, there was a point in every, one of these food corporations that a committee sat down and said, what are we missing? We got burgers, we got fries, we got soda, we got all this stuff. And it's really working for us. But what part of the market are we missing? And then someone said Filet-O-Fish. And then enough people agreed with this person to greenlight it all the way through the chain of command to then, boom, give a 22-year-old loser an ad for Filet-O-Fish just so he can tell tens of people on a stupid thing he does once a week. And so I just thought about that. You know, why did McDonald's get into the Filet-O-Fish game? Did they really think that was the play? And is it paying off? Or now is it just like, is it like a marketing ploy? Because they were like, this is so stupid. No one's actually gonna want to get it, but it's so stupid that everyone's gonna talk about it. And then McDonald's will be in their mind and they'll be like, yeah, I do want McDonald's. And then they'll go. Not for the Filet-O-Fish. Heavens no. I hope they respect themselves. But, you know, we'll plant that inside their head so that, you know, they end up at our, you know, McDonald's and buy something that's actually edible and not a Filet-O-Fish. A Filet-O-Fish doesn't even look edible. Like, it looks like someone stole a puck from a hockey game and then melted cheese on it and put it on 2 buns. And then someone got a little excited and now they say it's tartar sauce or mayo, but mm-mm. The second thing I wrote down on my notes page for this week is staring into your own eyeball for a long time and becoming terrified. I've done this over the years. I wonder if other people do this, but when you take a human and you look at them in just parts, it's disgusting. And so, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, but you just stare in a mirror and then just focus on one eye. And then what happens with me is I just start imagining the eye by itself, and that just is terrifying to think about. Because in the context of me, an eye, 2 eyes looks, you know, normal. But when you just hone in on one eye and you imagine the rest of your body going away and just that eye being there without an eyelid to blink, it is terrifying. And I've done this a lot my entire life. And so I guess, why did I write it down? I'm seeking validation. Have you guys ever done that? Have you scared the shit out of yourself with your own eye? It's really the only body part I think you could stare at and be like, oh my God, what is going on? I mean, ears are weird in their own way, but I think to really have an ear freak you out, you would have to look at it from the side. This angle of an ear, pretty harmless, pretty tame, but I feel like if you were to look inside your ear, I think that could definitely scare someone. But eyeballs, you know what it is also? Teeth. Teeth are terrifying. If you just stare at them, like when people's lips cover, perfect. But do a big smile. I'm not gonna do it because that's weird. But do a smile with like a really teethy smile, and then just understand it like that's your skull. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know, when you just stare at, I don't know, when you start breaking yourself down mentally, you know, it's terrifying. And I wonder, do other people experience that? Because I can't be the only one, right? You guys, by the way, this is on my list. I know it is. You guys validated my yummy ice train of thought. And I just want to say thank you so much. I did not know so many people were going to resonate with that. And you did. So, hey, look at us. Look at us. We're all We're the yummy gang. That's gross. That's gross. That. But I guess I want to say thank you. And now pass over this week's question, which is, what happens when you stare at your eye and your teeth? I guess this is an experiment. We've never done this before on I'm Doing Well. I'm giving you a homework assignment. I want you to do an experiment and report back. And don't change your percent error. There's no grade in this class, okay? So you don't have to change any numbers, just so someone will give you a letter that represents your understanding of a subject so that the real world will hire you. This, no grades. So just be honest, go into a mirror, make sure the lights are on. It has a better terrifying effect if lights are on. And stare at one eye, unblinking, and then stare at your teeth. I would love to hear what goes through your brain. You got to give it at least 30 seconds to a minute to really get the effect. The next thing on my list, my handy dandy list, I was looking back at my old videos, and I used to do that series called Wilt Week, and I started watching one. For some reason, I only watched the last 4 minutes of it. I don't know why, but I watched the last 4 minutes, and there is such minimal editing. And I was watching some of my older videos, and there's just not that much editing. The punch-ins that I do, they are there, but there's not that many of them. And there was something so nice about that content. There was a beauty in the absence of edits. And I know me today couldn't do that, but I thought it was so nice that I think I need to train myself to edit a little more minimally. And something I've tried to understand in the past week is that people are not watching the videos because you punched in 3 times in 5 seconds. Ultimately, they're going to watch the video because of the video. I mean, sometimes the punch-ins make it better, but there's a sweet spot, right? And I think I was, when I was less aware, I think it was cool. And plus, it reduces editing time down a lot. My Reddit video I made I think it came out January 2nd, right? I recorded that during winter break. That video, I talked about a couple podcast episodes ago, not that much editing in it. And that was because I had been doing the podcast for about 3 weeks. And I realized, I can just talk and people will listen. I don't have to punch in or add a stupid gimmick to trick people into not clicking off. Because that's why people do the punch-ins, right? It doesn't really, most of the time, enhance the content. Sometimes it is funny. If you punch in at the right moment, it really can make a little portion of a video. But the more real reason that people use punch-ins is so that the screen is always moving, It caters to the internet audience, which has a, low attention span. And so in my brain, I justify punching in 3 times every 5 seconds or whatever, just because I know if I let myself sit idle for too long, it will give someone an opportunity to be like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm going to head on out. But the thing is, it's not sitting idle. The whole time I am talking. I don't have to be punching in because what's interesting should be what I'm saying. And I don't think I fully realized that that's what I was doing, old Gauruv. But I now realize that that's something I have to understand more now and approach my content with that mindset. Or else I get stuck with what I've been doing for the past year or two where I make less content because I just spend way too much time thinking it's not enough. When in reality, I should just be making the thing. Because I'm not ever short on video ideas. Like, I sat down and I made a list real quick because spring break is coming up. I have a list of 11 videos I would like to make during spring break. Like, the ideas are there. It's just I never really have the time because of how long it takes me to edit. Because I'm so obsessive over, like all these stupid little things that in the end don't even matter. So yeah. People sometimes ask me, like, what's your favorite video? And I've talked about it on this podcast. I've talked about it to people in real life. The idea that every video I've made has, had a turn being hated by me. I've said this a lot of times. And it's true. I, at some point, hate almost everything I make. But then when enough time has passed, it's usually like a year, a little over a year, I love it all, no matter how bad it is. Like, there's some of my older videos that are, just pretty bad. And I'm not implying that the ones now are good. I'm sure in 5 years or whatever, I'll look back on videos I made today or I'm going to make in a couple weeks and think those are pieces of shit. But when it's so far in the past, I'm able to appreciate it more because it's more of a documentation of, not history because that sounds too serious, but it is my history, like of my life. It's like a snapshot of that point in my life. And so it becomes less about content and more about, an account, a history, documentation, rather than, I hope this gets views and likes. And that content, when consumed, inspires my content today. And so hopefully, looking at that content, I've said the word content many times, and now it doesn't even sound like a real word. I'm hoping that will have a positive influence on my content today. And I can carry that over the next couple months because I have a lot of ideas. And, this is the time to make those ideas. I only got, 14-ish months left at UC Davis. Once you graduate, you can't really make current student content because you're not a current student. You then at that point make alumni content. And I don't think I have an interest in doing that because to me that's not my identity when I leave college. I don't think being an alumni is enough of an identity to hang on to make content. My content will then shift into whatever I am doing then, which is, I guess, being an engineer at that point. Which I have about 6 videos saved off to the side that I want to react to because I found some old engineering training videos and they are ridiculous. So I would love to, I'm probably going to react to those in summer. I went to VidCon 2 years ago and there was this idea I learned about. I don't think it has a real name, but I've attached the name niche jumping to it. And something people always find themselves struggling with is getting locked into one niche. Like, I'm kind of in that position. Right now, the niche I'm locked into is UC Davis content. UC Davis is my niche that I'm pretty much in. And once you're in a niche, that is who your audience is. And so moving out of that becomes a little difficult. And so the thing that people struggle with is, how do I navigate to a new niche? Because that's something I will need to do. This UC Davis niche, once I'm out of Davis, I got to get out of that niche. And so 2 years ago at VidCon, I learned about this niche jumping, which is find what is the overlap between your current audience and the place you want to go to. For example, if you are, an aerospace engineer, or you're an astronaut or whatever, and you have a passion for art and you would like to take your, you know, audience more in the art direction, kind of leave aerospace behind. What you could do is make a video on painting, but don't paint like a landscape or, a portrait or whatever. Paint space or a rocket ship, just so it's still space, related, but it is in the new area you want to be. So what do I have to do? I got to find out what is similar about a UC Davis audience and the audience I want to have after college. The thing is, though, I don't know what audience I want after college. Luckily, though, the thing about the UC Davis audience is that for the most part, they are 18 to 24-year-olds. And so that is good that I have at least the age demo I want. Now it's about the subject of content. And that is where I need to think more about to see growth. And so that's something I'm going to be thinking about a lot during summer, and you'll see some content from me that you probably have never seen, or would have, the style you would have never seen before from me, which is exciting and scary. But if it's not scary, I don't think it's worth doing, right? That's not true. There's something around that I mean, but I think you get the point. Another thing on my list, there's nothing better than a firm grape. Grapes, man. I am not like a big fan of grapes. You can ask my mom. She doesn't get it. I don't get it. Why I'm such an opponent to grapes. But I have to say, with just absoluteness, that's not a word, but like with complete agreeance. There's a very simple word I'm looking for. I have to say with certainty. Yes, I can say I couldn't think of certainty. Jesus. I have to say with certainty, green grapes suck. They're objectively shit. They are bad. If you like green grapes, maybe look into that more, because you're doing a bad thing. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I just think you should seek help, because green grapes, it ain't it. Now, I know, okay, so this is stupid because there's no such thing as purple grapes, right? But then anytime we draw grapes, we color them purple. But then I don't think like real purple grapes exist, right? They're just like red or like dark grapes. I don't think I don't think farmers say, yeah, I'm growing purple grapes. But when I say purple grapes, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like dark grapes. A dark purple firm grape. I had a little bowl full of them earlier this week, and again, not like a big grape guy, but wow. What a bowl. What a bowl. After someone gets a turkey, wow, what a bowl. That could work so many different ways. That's like a bowling joke. That's a Thanksgiving joke. That's actually the only two ways it could work, but okay. And man, I'm not like I don't know. There's so many fruits are so weird, man. Like I really like pineapples, but most of the time they fuck up the top of my mouth, so I just stay away from them. But I really do like the taste of pineapples. They just have an adverse effect on the roof of my mouth. I don't know what adverse means. I was just trying to say negative in a smart way. Sorry. That's the inner engineer in me, trying to use some complicated bullshit jargon to explain a simple idea just to show that I have a brain. I don't know what I was watching or like consuming. There was something I was watching or reading earlier this week, and the term first come, first served was displayed. And it made me realize, I talked about this, I think like 3 or 4 podcasts ago. You know how people don't get sayings right? And then that one girl I went to high school with, she said hand and hand, and I was like clowning on those people. But I just learned this week, it's first come, first served, which makes sense. But my entire life, I've thought it was first come, first serve. But, and I think that makes sense too. Like from the person that's serving, their perspective, right? Like whoever's first to come, they're the first to. Oh, no, they're the first to get served. Oh, no. Okay, so the person serving, they're like, I'm going to be doing some serving. So the first person that shows up, they're their first serve. So see, the first come is their first serve. So I'm right, logically, but I think in terms of being correct, I think I'm wrong. I, yeah, it's first come, first served. And I just learned that this week. So that sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck. It just like, I've become the very thing I was clowning. And that's embarrassing. Yeah. I'm working on a video. It'll be posted next week. And I'm really excited for it. I think it will do something, whatever hole this video fills, I don't think has ever been filled before. So don't worry, I'm using protection. God damn it. But I'm really like proud of this one. No, I'm not. That's the thing. I'm in the stage where I hate it, you know? When I first come up with the idea, I love it. Oh my God. I just can't wait to do it. Then I, record it or I make it, not make it, but I record it or I get started on it and I love it. And then like a week or a couple days, I would say, pass after I've recorded it and I have everything. And now you just edit. And over the course of editing, I slowly despise it more. And so that's the thing. I really like this idea. We did the idea, and I've now been editing, and I'm like, oh my God, oh, this sucks so much. I think the reason why maybe I think these things suck when I edit them is because I know how much potential the raw idea has. And so when I have the idea and I gather the raw footage, it is in its most exciting state, which is a big idea. And then it's editing where you chisel away at the big idea. And sometimes you take too big a chunk out and you're like, damn it. Because editing is really where you shape it. And when I edit, I can see how the sausage is made, and then it like ruins it for me. So I end up hating it. So that's the thing. I don't know if I can say like I'm proud of it, but I think I know I'm doing a good thing, like personally. Like I know Gauruv in a year will be really proud of this video. So I feel really good. And it's something, this idea, it's not taboo, but like it's just something, it's so simple. It's such a simple idea, but no one pulls the trigger on doing it. I don't know why they don't do it. Well, I mean, I get why the like everyday person doesn't do it, because there's nothing in it for an everyday person. I just make videos. So for me, I'm doing it for views, subscribers, whatever. But like, I mean, I don't want to say too much. I can talk about it in 2 weeks, but like, it's such a, I'll talk about it in 2 weeks, but I think there's so much worth to this video, and I hope it provides that worth. That's the thing. I think the raw idea, there's so much worth in the idea. I just hope I hope I land it. You know? I hope yeah. I hope I land the stunt that I'm trying to pull off. And that the crowd goes woo. How are we doing on time, folks? We got about, what, 5 minutes? You want to get into housekeeping already? Man, you are eager to get into housekeeping, huh? I don't have any. Uh, my, I was gonna like trim my beard. I don't know why this has turned into. Oh, actually, I do have housekeeping. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's update. Okay, let me tell you about my facial hair, and I'm gonna tell you about my cookies. That could be dirty, but that's just me being me. My facial hair. I was gonna trim my beard after last week's episode because I was like, it's too much. And I watched an interview with Seth Rogen when he had like a big beard, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna keep this. For now. I'm probably gonna trim it in about 2 weeks when I start recording, my 11 other videos. But for now, this it's gonna stay like this. I just want to see what happens. My cookies, though. Okay, so I went back. We went, toaster oven, and I went 8.5 minutes. And a thing I tried was flattening the cookie dough. So I roll it into a ball, but then I flatten it, so that hopefully it gets to the middle quicker. Because that was the problem. Like the middle was raw. So I was like, if I flatten it, it won't be so thick. There won't be such a large. It'll have a smaller diameter. And so I flattened them, and I think it did help. So okay, so I flattened them. This is what it looks like, right? And then this is how they turned out. This is the after picture. And they look pretty good, right? They're probably a little darker than we would have liked to see. But then when you look at the underbelly, that's when the ugliness comes out because it's a little burnt. It's a little burnt. So there's definitely more experimentation I need to do and just testing overall. But I think we're moving in a good direction. Because again, with the toaster oven, this cuts out preheating the oven. It cuts out 13 minutes of cooking time. I mean, when doing this, you get a perfect cookie, and wow, it's so good. But for efficiency, we got to figure out this toaster oven thing. Because, I mean, it's going to pay off. It's going to, oh my God, it's going to open so many more opportunities for cookie consumption. And I'm excited for the future of that. And I just want to know, I want you to know I haven't given up. I'm trying, not super hard, but I'm making the effort. Okay. This is like me trying to get back with an ex. I've thought things over. Okay. I'm a better man now. I'm going to put more time into this thing. You just need to know I care. Okay. And I want to make sure we take care of this thing so that I can have so we can both have some nice warm chocolate in our mouth. A little innuendo there for all the folks at home. Okay. Are there not folks at home? You're all folks at home. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for listening to this. It means the world. Your interactions, on Discord in the comment section is really what makes this podcast, I think, as good as it can be, because it's not good just because of me sitting here and talking. It's really becoming what it is because of you guys. And for that, I want to say again, thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Bye.